Hello guys, welcome back to the Socially Inept Thoughts channel. This channel is designed to provide value to not just men, but predominantly younger men who struggle maybe with social interactions, dating, maybe just need a perspective. I like to give my perspective on things. Sometimes it's pretty unpopular, but I promise you they are genuine and 100% mine. But yeah guys, if you find value, please subscribe, please like. The last video is doing pretty well for the size of this channel. First of all, I just want to thank y'all for the nice comments. It feels good to know, like, hey, I'm providing value for people. At the very least, I'm making people think about shit. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into today's topic. Men shouldn't have female friends. Yes, we are getting into it today. And this obviously comes from the viral situation where Cam Newton is going viral for saying he does not hang around women that he does not plan to do something with, And he's getting a lot of shit for it. Let's just be honest. The person he was interviewing is saying, man, basically that's immature, that's some childish stuff, you gotta grow and mature and become this more evolved person. He's like, no, actually, it's because I know myself pretty well, and I'm not putting myself in a situation where I'm not hanging around women that I don't find attractive. And people didn't like it. But honestly, people should actually love it, regardless of how you view platonic situations. Me personally, I'll say I'm not really a believer as you get older, as you're a grown man, as you're at least maturing. You should not be really trying to be friends with women like that. Now, let me specify, this does not mean that in work situations and social situations that require you, if you go out in public, yeah, you should be able to handle yourself. If you're around an attractive woman and you need to interact and not try to make things weird. Let's specify that. This is not a I can't keep my dick in my pants situation. But you should not be voluntarily setting up time to meet up with women that you find attractive, hanging out with them for hours, going to a park, going out to eat, and just pretending that you're friends. Because one of you finds each other attractive, and chances are it's probably you as the guy. And you being dishonest about your true intentions is honestly the person that lacks self-control more than the person that says, hey, I'm not putting myself around attractive women if I know I'm going to want to be with one of these attractive women. It's not immature. It's not childish. It's actually self-acceptance. It's actually mature. What's immature is a lot of these guys that are coming out trying to appease a point of view because they want to be looked at by women as acceptable, as safe, as someone they could be around. When in reality, what they're really saying, when you really read in between the lines, like the guy that Cam was interviewing in that clip, he talked about him and his girl. I don't remember if it was his wife or his girlfriend. They both have healthy platonic relationships, him with women, her with other guys. And what you really pick up from that, and I'll say my point of view on that is, I think a lot of times when people have that obsession to have platonic friendships like that, it's really a seek of validation that maybe they're not feeling from their partnership. Now, you should never expect everything from your partner. That's pretty insane, and it's an impossible standard. A lot of these times, it's a form of self-validation and, honestly, a form of insecurity to create jealousy and leverage in their situation. Because it will cause problems. There's literally nothing good that can happen from you going out individually with a woman out till midnight, 1 a.m. when you got a partner at home. There's literally nothing good that can happen. Absolutely nothing. But when you try to play these mental gymnastics of we're evolving as a species and all this shit, it's all bullshit. Now look, I'm not Cam Newton. I can't go into a room and be like, I'm fucking Cam Newton and just, come here, ladies. But I think it's safe to say that a man who makes it very clear about his intention when he's talking to you is much more of a safer space than some wishy-washy guy who's, oh, you know, we're just hanging out, you know, nothing serious, but then you're at a movie theater, then he puts his hand on your leg, and you're like, I thought we were just friends. He's like, ah, we are, you know, we're just friendly, touching your inner thighs, you know? And that's how you get with these guys, that they try to push that envelope, and they deceive, and they play this kind of mind fuckery game, and they play that quote-unquote over-the-top, I hate to say over-the-top nice guy, but they really, it's a lot more of a manipulation than a guy's like, hey, I'm not being around a woman that I don't find attractive, because if I voluntarily am around a woman that I find attractive, I know I'm going to pursue them. Doesn't mean in a over-the-top, inappropriate way. It just means I'm going to make it clear, these are my intentions with you. And I think a guy that is comfortable being like, hey, I'm not communicating with you, I'm not trying to hang out with you, unless it's very clear you understand that I'm into you, I'm trying to be with you, I'm trying to get with you. That is honestly, I think, as men and women, we just want to know, what are we getting ourselves into? When I hang around you, is there a deceptive aspect, or is he being very clear? And that's when you get these guys that lose their shit and beat the fuck out of women. Now, I know not to take a turn there, but, you know, oh, I thought she was feeling me, and then she said, and then guys lose their shit. Now you're dealing with psychopaths, you know. Not saying that guys or people who are into platonic situations or that, but I do think there's a lot of dishonesty of an aspect of being friends with a woman if you find her attractive. I'm not hanging out voluntarily with a woman if I don't have intentions of something more with her. Because one, it shows honesty. There's no confusion of what I stand for or what you stand for, and put yourself in that situation. And one, it shows you're a man who knows what he's about and doesn't waste his time. Because I'll be honest with you, if you're just going to come out here and, like, if you got all the time in the world to just go out to the mall with a girl for 4 hours and then go out and hang out with her at dinner a couple days later for a couple hours, and you're just friends, it's not about the sex. It's not about, oh, if you're hanging out with her, you expect. That's not the point of, like, you should be able to hang out with a woman, get to know a woman, and sex not be the forefront of everything of why you're doing it. But you should have a progression of intent that is clear, like, hey, we're on a date because my interest in you is for something more than friends. I want to see this further. And that's where you both should be on the same page if you are out on a date with a woman. And there's a lot of guys that play this deceptive game. They do all the things that are quote-unquote platonic, and really you're just going on dates with women, giving them free attention. And honestly, they benefited from it all because they can just decide, like, hey, you know what? I never made a commitment to you. So I don't have to feel bad if I'm just like, I don't want to do anything with you. But the worst part is, these are the same guys that feel entitled to it. And I know I've talked about this in a previous video. These are guys that they keep this facade around of platonic friendship. But let's be honest. Like, ladies, ask yourself. And they know this. Like, I'm really speaking to you guys, because you know this too. If she has 3 guy friends, quote-unquote platonic, she texts them all, hey, I'm at a hotel tonight, I'm horny, my panties are popping off, I need someone to take care of this tonight. Guess who's all showing up within 10 minutes? All 3 of them. They're all showing up in less than 10 minutes, even if they're 30 minutes away. They are stopping everything they're doing to go to that hotel room. There's not a single guy that's going to be like, you know what, I'm not sure, you know, I really value taking this, you know, I really valued our platonicness. Like, nope, they are showing the fuck up. And they know it, you know it, And that's where that leverage comes into play. A lot of couples that are in established relationships, we have this open relationship, polygamy type of thing, where it's a lot more normal, and there's nothing wrong if everyone's on the same page with that. But there's also people that practice the monogamy life, but they kind of dabble in, and the platonic relationship is a nice way to kind of dabble in it, but not really get that perception of it. Because everyone will say, oh, well, if she can't hang around a guy without you getting insecure, then that's a reflection on your insecurity. And they start throwing the insecurity tab. And it's like, okay, let me go hang around an attractive woman as an attractive man, and let's see if your perspective is the same about it. See, it's all about how you package it. What it signals, if you're willing to spend a lot of time with a girl and you're really not getting anything progressing out of it, it kind of, like I said before, in her mind, it's going to make her never really take you serious anyways, if that's something you really want with her. Because if you have time to hang around with a girl that's not really trying to be with you like that at that point in time, then what you're really showing her is that you don't value your time. You don't value how you spend your time with the opposite sex. You don't, because then what happens is, let's say hypothetically, things work out, you start seeing each other dating. Now she's gonna think like, oh, well, his time's not really that valuable, and it really doesn't take much if anyone just likes him and wants to hang out with him. He's not willing to have boundaries and say no to shit. Because that's where it kind of shows you don't really have boundaries of self-respect for each other, for yourself, if you are just going to sit there and hang out with women that you find attractive and hide behind the platonic and the cordial aspect. You're pretending to be cordial because you're afraid to let go of something that's just not there. It goes back to genuine like, a woman's not being platonic with you if she wants to fuck you. I hate to break it to you. Like, if she actually wants to fuck you now, she is not being platonic with you. Now, there's a difference between platonic, where you're going out of your way to hang out with a woman, compared to if you happen to have a woman's contacting your phone for a long time. Maybe you hit her up here and there to kind of keep up with her, but nothing too serious. But you never go out of your way to just start hanging out with her all of a sudden, unless you may start having an attraction, or maybe you want to see someone with her. You don't start doing that. There's a difference between having someone maybe in your contacts, your phone, or just somewhere you wrote down a piece of paper, and you reach out, and it's from a genuine aspect, and then maybe stuff happens, but you don't have that, oh, I gotta keep up a friendship with a person for a long period of time to pretend that maybe one day. It's always that, well, I think a lot of these guys, they're afraid if they don't keep in contact with this girl, she's not going to want to talk to them. Which, you know what? Probably right. Attractive men, or men with any respect for their time, don't have platonic relationships with women in that capacity. Like, guys who can actually attract women, if they want to go out on a date with women, they can, relatively easily go out somewhere, talk with a woman, and make her feel good, and go out with her. Doesn't mean your success rate's going to be, but you know what I mean. Like, they have that confidence with themselves that they don't need to. They know what being desired, they know what being liked, loved, and sexually craved, or vice versa. There's a feeling of platonicness that she's just not going to feel for you. And it's not going to fulfill that extra desire in you as a man. So you are willing to be okay with, like, hey, you know what? I don't really want to see anyone right now. I don't need to have conversations with women just in hopes that they might text me, because you know what? I can go out and I can get any woman I put my mind to. You know, whether that's true or not, but you believe it. I can actually enjoy life by myself until there's a woman where there's a mutual understanding of what's important to us. I don't need to fill my time just to pass the time. That's very immature shit. It's disingenuous. And that's what a lot of these platonic guys do. Platonic guys are the most dangerous men out here. They are not trying to talk to you because they give a fuck about what you do. They don't give a fuck about your hobbies. They don't give a fuck about protecting you if shit hits the fan. They are being disingenuous, and the second they realize, the second it's over, their true colors will be exposed. All that platonic bullshit, because they didn't get any legitimate action with you, will be exposed. As a man, it's not about self-control. It's about not putting yourself in unnecessary situations. Both guys and girls that defend this type of stuff is mostly because they value outside of attention of their committed partner for leverage, insecurity, and validation. Now, this may be the most important part of the video as a guy, because, you know, fuck the platonicness, fuck the friendships. I think one of the biggest things that's important for young men, and just men in general, is not putting yourself in unnecessary situations. What does that mean? Now, we kind of live in a victim mentality type of culture, and I'm not the Mr. Oh, you gotta own all your shit, nothing but, you know, you gotta take care of it no matter what happens to you. But if you know better, if you know yourself, let's say you have a drinking problem, and when you drink, you have no control of it. What you should probably not do is constantly go out to places by yourself where you will get hammered, and then you have no control of what someone else may do to you. Someone else may take advantage of you. Someone may rob you, because you have no self-control of yourself. I'm not saying if something happens to you, you should, like, you're not a victim of something, but you also gotta look back like, why would I put myself in that situation over and over again? If you're a guy, there's just sometimes there's no need to put yourself in unnecessary situations. If you are, let's say you're a married man, and let's say you're a guy that struggles with, you know, staying faithful, right? If you're a guy where that's like a legitimate problem, look, man, you got to go out and work, you got to go on daily life, you know, you're still going to run into those issues, right? But, you know, you probably don't have to go out on a Friday by yourself because you need some alone time and go to places where you're around other people that are wearing certain clothes, that are trying to basically seek out some intimacy or seek out a companion or seek out this and that. You probably shouldn't go to a hookah lounge by yourself. You probably shouldn't go to, you know, a certain type of bar, a certain type of club. If you feel like it's going to, if you don't feel like you have the self-control to be able to stay faithful. That's acknowledging, one, your weaknesses. That's acknowledging like, hey, I don't have this under control, so I'm not going to put myself in this situation unnecessarily. And a lot of people, they leave things to chance. We say, oh, you know, that's just how fate had it. You know, shit just happened. It's like, shit doesn't just happen, right? Like, you had to stick your dick in her vagina. Like, there was at least 30 minutes of conversation. There was little innuendos, or you know, maybe we'll walk outside, maybe we go to the car, and then somehow we just got a hotel room. I don't know what happened. Guys leave too much to chance, and you need to take accountability. Lust is it's a son of a bitch, let me tell you. But lust, it's really just a microcosm of kind of, you know, you can use Bible verses, and, you know, I'm not going to get into God and all that stuff, but lust is one of those things that it's an easy cop-out for a lot of people. Like, they fell to lust and they're going to name stories about all this shit. But in reality, really what it is, it's just putting yourself in unnecessary situations that you're not ready to handle. Like, alright, you know what, let's have a real guy talk here. This is just for the guys, you know, we all know. Why are you texting her? Why do you want to hang out with her? And I swear to God, if you say, we just have great conversation, go fuck yourself. If she says it's because you have great conversation, it's believable. Your number one reason to hang out with a woman that you barely know isn't because we just have great conversation. It doesn't mean it doesn't matter in a legitimate relationship capacity. Obviously, you need to be able to enjoy time and conversation. But if you are just trying to, you know, tickle your fancy a little bit, you know, you want to get to know someone, it's fun, there's the idea of a spark, you know, all that shit. It's not because, man, you know, when we talk, we just get lost in the world, nothing else matters. That's not really why, you know, you're going to the mall to, you know, pick out her dress for her actual date with her boyfriend. That's not why you're doing that. Why are you really reaching out asking about how her day is? Is it because you really care about if she had a good day or not, or you're trying to figure out, I wonder if I can make that day a little bit better? I mean, come on. There's nothing wrong with saying this shit out loud, and honestly, a lot of women would appreciate if you're just straightforward about it. Because you know what? A lot of women probably be into you too, if you were just straightforward with it. And at the very least, at least you know they're not. Now, I'm not trying to be the toxic guy here. I'm not trying to back guys with no self-control, but honestly, as men, you need to take accountability for situations you put yourself into. Because what it does, from a bigger point of view, when you leave things to chance and all this shit, when you get women pregnant, you blame all these other things and you don't want to, you know, really be responsible. Something happens, you know, you weren't transparent about certain things. She finds things about, you find things about her. And what it does, when you leave things to chance, you have no direction. When you have no direction, you have no future. You have no future. What the fuck does she have to go by? Because a woman trusting her body, how women respond to things, you know, as they get older, when they want, you know, legitimate guys, what they look at the platonic guy is never going to be the guy that she's actually going to get pregnant by and be friends and get married to. Now look, he may get lucky eventually. She's bored one night, they try it out, but you know, more than likely, if you've been platonic a little bit too long, she's not going to view you as a real option. It just is what it is. And I'm not no dating expert. I'm not any of that type of shit. Direction, when women like actually want you and really view you as a legitimate long-term or just a partner that they can actually have kids with and have a future with, it's because they know what you're about and they feel like you could lead in direction. And the reason why you could lead in direction is because you led her in a direction to you to make her commit and feel comfortable with you. And the only way that is, hey, this are my intentions with you. Now, it doesn't mean like from the first day you see her, you're like, hey, I'm ready to put a baby in you today, you know? I'm not saying you got to go on a date, you know, you got to set up a date within a week, but at the same time, if you're getting a woman's phone number, if you're going and you're just trying to get a woman's phone number, like, that's kind of the indicator that, yeah, I'm into you. But nowadays, because there's this confusion, now it's, you know, well, maybe he asked for my number just because he's gay. You know, maybe he just wants to be, or maybe it's, you know, they're kind of looking around, they're seeing someone else, I'm seeing someone else, so it's nothing serious. Like, if you, as a guy, you should not be trying to get a woman's phone number. And you should not accept a woman's phone number unless you have a reason why you want that woman's phone number. One, you don't need the extra clutter in your life. you can only have so much of your time to give, that you should be more selective in who you give that time to. And being a platonic friend is the definition of a guy, to me, that's a waste of time. I've seen it. I've had friends where they were friends with girls that they obviously liked, the girl knew they liked. They hung out in their car for hours after work. They hung out at their house and nothing ever happened. And it's not about sex. It's just the fact that you spent all day with a woman and she desires someone else a lot more in front of your face. And you know it. That's a tough pill to swallow. That's why you gotta learn to just do your own thing. You gotta learn to actually do your own shit so you attract that. The last point I'll put was guys who accept platonic relationships are guys who actually are the ones who lack self-control. They would rather hold on to an idea of something than to accept and be okay with no communication with that person if it doesn't suit them. And that simply is because these are the guys that, tell them no. Make clear to them that you actually, I don't view you like that. I promise you, their whole demeanor's going to shift. And it's not going to be like, hey, it's like, yeah, but you just said we were friends. Like, yeah, but I really wanted to be more than friends. Like, well, you never explained. We could have saved a lot of time. Which shows her that you are willing to waste a lot of time leaving shit to chance instead of taking shit in your own hands and at least finding out. She would have rather you have been like, hey, this is what I want with you. This is what I desire with you. And I'm willing to see it through and take that chance. Or you tell me you don't want that. And then you could have saved 8 to 9 months, a year, 2 years. Some guys are friends with these girls for 5 years. It was some of the most insane shit. And they're really, because they're afraid that if something doesn't work out with whether it's their partner or a person they're seeing, even marriage, they always have someone that, hey, she listens to me, I listen to her, we feel good around each other. And that's the sketchy part. Because they don't feel like they can actually just go out and get a woman. And I hate to put it like that, but they don't have the actual legitimate confidence to go out and get a woman and actually attract women and be able to impress a woman to, a lesser capacity, I guess. It's a weird way of putting it. But it's a topic that has taken over, right? And this isn't, and again, I gotta reiterate, it doesn't mean you can't be cordial and friendly. It doesn't mean if a woman gives you a compliment in a public place or at work, you can't be like, well, that's very nice of you. I appreciate that. And keep it moving. That doesn't mean you shouldn't be able to go and make small conversation with someone without trying to put your hand down their pants or trying to get their number. You can just keep the interaction what it is and go about your day. What it means is when you have an intention, you stick with that intention. If you want that woman's number, if you actually have a feeling or desire with a woman, you need to let them know when it's appropriate. And like, hey, I just want to let you know, I'm not trying to talk to you all the time unless we're on the same page of what's going on here. There's nothing wrong with that. You have every right to not be dragged along in hopes of something when you can just find that with someone else. But the thing that this stuff does is you get enough people online and they'll call you childish, they'll call you immature, they call Cam Newton this and that. They're like, oh, that's why I have so many baby mamas and all this stuff. It's, yeah, you know what? He's like, yeah, I fuck a lot. I get a lot of women pregnant. So why am I going to pretend to be your friend when, you know what, chances are, if I'm around, we're probably going to fuck because you want to fuck me too. He's being honest about it. He's not trying to sit here and be like, nah, you know, it won't be you. He's like, nah, you know, if we have sex, you know, we're probably have pretty potent sperm. I've proven that. It's just, you know, it's amazing to me, man. These conversations that go viral. It's amazing how there's always two contrarian point of views, when in reality, the one that people are so against kind of a lot of times has the most merit, because it pushes a button. Because you also gotta understand, a lot of women, they want these platonic friendships because they benefit from it immensely more than guys. Guys do not benefit from platonic friendships. They do not. They are held out for hope. When a woman views you in a platonic aspect, it is simply because she doesn't believe you'll make a move. She thinks you're a pussy. I do not know any of my friends that have been successful women, that have had varying degrees of successful women. People I know that legitimately are just friends with women for the sake of being friends. Now, they may be friendly, but there's still an obvious attraction with it. It may happen at a slower pace, but you know, it's gonna happen. When you can see a girl stringing a man along, worst of all, a grown man, like, you know, when you're in your young 20s or teenage, like, you know, everyone has to learn the hard way, you know. But when you're a grown man being stringed along by a woman, it is one of the most uncomfortable, sad things to watch in person. I can't even lie to you. It is so fucking uncomfortable to watch. Like, as a guy, you gotta understand, like, the platonic relationship, the internet has convinced you that you're the immature one for acknowledging I don't really want to be friends with women like that. If I want to hang out with a woman, it's because I want to get to know her in a capacity that may require intimacy eventually. Like, yeah, you want to get to know a woman. You don't want to rush into things. That's not what I'm saying here. But really, you're not really going to connect with a woman until you actually are intimate. Like, that's where true connection happens. And intimacy is not sex, specifically. It could be how your bodies work together, your love language, how you communicate in intimacy, what's important to you in intimacy. For the test of times, I don't care if people say they're asexual, they're not physically attractive, you know, whatever the fuck you want to go by that. Physical touch doesn't turn them on. It's emotional intelligence. It's like, yeah, well, you can emotionally think about me when this dick's inside you. You know, that's really what they mean. I'm kidding, kind of. But, no, in all seriousness, the platonicness, people will shame you for being like, nah, you know, if you can't be friends with a woman, then you're the problem in society. It's like, no, I think the problem is that you think people have got to be friends with people that they know the capacity they want with that person. Because I actually want more than to just be your friend. Because I actually see you as more of a person than just someone to waste time talking to all the time and going out and doing this. I actually look at you as a real person to connect with, where we both benefit from it. But they will convince you that you're the asshole. But just remember, what you want matters too. It's voluntary. And at the end of the day, you gotta make the choice of what you want. I cannot tell you, I'm not saying being friends with a woman is a terrible thing. What I am saying is being disingenuous for why you're friends with that woman is a very dangerous thing for yourself and honestly for her. And as a girl, you should be very careful from who you're friends with. Yeah, guys, please subscribe, like. That was just kind of like my overall, well, that's a crotch shot. Hope you guys find value in this video. The overall message I want you to take, guys, be friendly with a woman. But if you find a woman attractive, don't be afraid to just be like, hey, I find you attractive. I don't want there to be any confusion here. So yeah, that being said, that was this video edition of Socially Inept Thoughts. If you find value, please help keep growing the channel. I really like what I'm doing here. The recent growth for the size of the channel, I'm very happy by. So yeah, have a great day and share.